Hire Butterfly Fly is a beauty salon that employs the most friendly hairdressers under the command of the sweet and charming Michelle. This applies to everyone except Gidam, a gray and moody girl with long bangs hiding her eyes. The inexperienced trainee behaves extremely strangely, which scares off most of the clients who think she has had some kind of grief. Michelle does not want to lose money and clients, so she tells the girl about the 3 rules of working in a beauty salon. The third and equally important requirement is to greet people with a smile. Trying to learn the lesson, Gibbon learns to smile and studies special courses, but she does extremely badly. Her smile is more frightening to her colleagues, who assume that something has happened to her or that she is in pain. When she learns that her colleagues distrust her because of her long bangs hiding her eyes, Gibbon decides to shorten them, but does so in an extremely unprofessional manner. Kwansu is considered to be the best stylist in the barbershop and is also a very kind, albeit secretive, man. Seeing that Gibbon is suffering and unable to change her appearance properly, he helps change the girl's hairstyle and opens her eyes, making her not only more open, but also more beautiful. Soon the next clients appear in the barbershop, 3 not young rock musicians who never became popular. The barbers remember that according to the second rule they are not allowed to laugh at the client, but not everyone succeeds. Upon returning home, Gibbon uses a mannequin and trains hard to become a good professional. As she studies the strengths of her colleagues, she realizes that she will never compare to Kwangchu or Jin. After receiving advice to look people in the eye, Gibbon begins to use this technique, but many customers are frightened by her behavior because she does it as if she were some kind of maniac. In the evening after work, colleagues go to a cafe and feel uncomfortable as they have to take off their shoes and their feet stink badly. Gibbon quarrels with one of the customers of the cafe because she does not like the reasoning that a person cannot dream and try to achieve something more. After the cafe, Mu sees her colleague off and finds out that she lives in an old and shabby dormitory. The next day, Gibbon decides to sing in front of an audience, but is too nervous. After learning about the last concert of an aging rock band, the girl goes to meet them and persuades Mu to accompany her. Gibbon enjoys the songs of her favorite band, unlike her colleague who doesn't understand how and who can like such music. Soon Gibbon realizes that there is no point in being afraid and becomes more open with the customers, trying to speak louder and smile to earn their trust and attention. As Gibbon continues to work at the beauty salon, she constantly listens to Michelle's advice and learns to be polite to her customers. The beauty salon owner is professional and knows how to offer services to increase her earnings. The modest Gibbon is only taking her first steps in this and is often afraid to start a conversation with a client, but realizes that this is part of her profession that she should get used to. During her lunch break, Gibbon leaves the beauty salon and meets 3 men who introduce themselves as Mu's best friends. A few minutes later, she notices the barber running away from them, and it turns out that these men who decided to punish him for Mu being a womanizer who dates girls who are in relationships. Because of the trouble, Mu goes into hiding and doesn't return to work, causing the other barbers to have to work twice as hard. In the evening, everyone rushes home to rest and only Gibbon continues to train on mannequins, trying to become a good specialist. At night, Mu returns to the beauty parlor and admits that he did not do well, but could not come earlier for fear of being beaten. A little later, Gibbon gets a call from her mom, who hands her a package. The girl does not want to eat the food her parents handed her, so she gives the container to one of her neighbors. In the morning, Michelle scolds Mu because of the situation that has arisen, but she cannot fire him, since she appreciates the guy as a specialist. Soon Sun, a national team soccer player, appears in the beauty salon and wants to meet Mu. The hairdresser carefully avoids meeting Sun, and everyone assumes that it is again connected with the girl. In the evening, Mu and Gibeon fight, as the guy does not appreciate the work as much as the girl who dreams of becoming a good stylist. Meeting Sun again, Gibeon defends his work colleague and learns about the purpose of the soccer player's visit. As it turns out, he was a friend of Mu's and really wants to meet him to talk. The 2 of them used to play soccer together, but Mu was badly injured and went into hairdressing, having just fallen in love with a girl attending a stylist course. Jen interferes in the communication between Mu and Gibeon, trying to reconcile them. To do this, the girl advises Gibeon to cut the guy's hair and talk to him. Gibbon is a novice trainee and she has never cut people's hair, only practicing on mannequins. While trying to serve her first customer, she makes a mistake and messes up Moo's hair. Fixing the situation, she gives him a short and horrible haircut that neither Jin nor Kwansu can fix. The next morning, Michelle, as well as her subordinates, continue to please the customers. To do this, they not only cut their hair and distract them with pleasant conversation, but also make personal cards, specifying in them all the wishes of the client, so that next time he left the beauty salon as satisfied as possible with their services. A couple of days later, Suri invites Gibbon with her to the store to buy clothes. When Suri chooses an inappropriate dress, Gibbon is afraid to tell her, causing her colleague to take offense and not want to talk to her again. While continuing to learn how to work in a beauty salon, Gibbon notices that each stylist has a unique mirror. Jin uses a lamp to make a person appear beautiful, Michelle uses several light sources to create emphasis on her hair, and Kwansu uses a regular mirror to make people see themselves as real. Upon meeting another customer, Kwansu insults her because of her age, causing the woman to cry, but the other beauty parlor workers calm and support her. Michelle asks the customer to move to her mirror, where the woman becomes beautiful. After seeing this, Gibbon wants to understand what version of her beauty the people around her see. The job of a stylist is extremely difficult because the masters have to recognize and hide the flaws of their clients. Jin and Michelle work hard at it, but Kwansu makes her clients worry about the problems and put up with them. When he sees a woman with a large forehead, he cuts her hair in the weirdest possible way, which makes her nervous and worried about her appearance. Soon the hairdressers panic and look for a place to hide as a 6-year-old child is heading towards them. Children are the worst as they tell the truth to everyone, calling people old, fat, and ugly. The boy disappoints visitors and hairdressers because he unknowingly insults them and makes them feel complexes because of his appearance and its shortcomings. In the evening, colleagues go to their favorite cafe and Jen quarrels with Suri because of her desire to be kind to people. Upon returning home, they each look at themselves in the mirror and look for flaws, but Kwansu is the only one who thinks he is perfect. Jen has a hard time convincing a client to change his hair color to red, believing that it will be much better for him. In the evening, Gibbon and the rest of the trainee assistants learn how to cut hair on mannequins. Gibbon and Moo help each other, and Suri is visited by a friend for whom she feels sympathy. The only lonely trainee is Teacher Wu, who has no one but a mannequin. Suri's younger sister notices her with a young and handsome guy, deciding to get to know him better. The woman who was cut by Kwansu remains satisfied, but Jen's client forces her to recolor him. He is pleased with the job and his friends appreciate his style, but the man is colorblind and doesn't realize his hair is red. Admitting failure, Jen changes the client's hair color, while Kwansu's crazy client asks for an even weirder hairstyle than ever before. In the evening, Suri and her friend head to a bar, but her younger sister finds them there. Suri is too kind and can't fight with her sister, but she doesn't want her to take away the guy she likes. The next morning, Suri decides not to give up the ugly dress, but to buy a mirror that makes her look better so that she can strive for that in reality as well. 3 months ago, Michelle, Kwansu, and Jen were 3 of the most famous stylists who didn't know each other. Having found a suitable space, Michelle rented it to open a beauty salon. Since there wasn't enough money, she offered Kwansu a joint business and he immediately agreed, contracting with her. Soon it became known that their third stylist would be the bright and emotional Jen, which shocked the man. Kwansu absolutely did not want to work with her and tried to leave, but the terms of the contract obliged him to put up with Jen's work in the beauty salon. Even 3 months before that day, Michelle had worked as an ordinary hairdresser in a modest beauty parlor. It seemed like she would never succeed until a horrible client came to her with messy hair. Everyone else was scared and hid, leaving Michelle to fend for herself. She decided not to give up and accepted the challenge, resulting in giving the woman a beautiful haircut. Instead of money, she left her a lottery ticket and ran away. Michelle was upset and thought that the client turned out to be a fraud, but soon she realized that the ticket was the winning ticket and was able to get the money to open her own beauty salon. After agreeing that each stylist would have an assistant, they began interviewing. Kwansu and Jen fought a lot, so they decided to hire people by majority vote. As a result, They took the fat and no-good Suri after seeing tears in her eyes and the modest Gibim, whom Jen saw hiding behind a pole during the day. The third assistant turned out to be the not-young teacher Wu, who helped Michelle in everything and also initiated the name, hire, butterfly, fly. Getting started proved challenging due to the lack of clients. Michelle and Jen were able to invite friends, but Kwang-soo had no one. Realizing that the man pays his salary out of his own pocket, Gibim, who is his fan, decided to help the stylist and started handing out flyers. One day she was helped by Moo, but she ran away from him, assuming that the guy would demand money for his services. It soon became clear that he was the son of Michelle's friend and would be the fourth intern, and Kwang-soo had her first clients, thanks to Gibim. In the present, Gibim met a man hailing from the same village as him. Showing interest in the girl, the man asked her out on a date. Gibim wanted to refuse, but her colleagues persuaded her to change her mind. Moo deemed her incapable of impressing the man, but the co-workers argued with him, making a bet that the guy would cut his hair if Gibim was asked out on a second date. Suri, Michelle, and Jen made sure she was as beautiful as possible, and Kwang-soo changed her hair and drove her to the meeting place. Despite her best efforts, it turned out that the man had invited Gibim to meet some friends, which she also had to pay for. Having dropped her phone in the toilet, the girl was unable to call anyone and lost her last money. Trying to find help and support, she called Moo from a payphone to find her in the city and lend her money as she was lost. After drinking too much, Gibim confessed her love to Moo, but he rejected her. At the same time, Kwang-soo hurt his back and called Jen to get her help. At some point, the couple got into an awkward situation, causing Kwang-soo and Jen to feel sympathy for each other. The next morning, Gibim was very nervous that Moo would talk about her failed date and how he rejected her, but he kept his mouth shut. Soon a customer came in with her hair tangled in a foot massage device. At the same time, Jen was visited by a distressed girl who had a fight with her husband and decided to make a drastic image change. Jen made her short hairstyle, but in the evening the rich man came to them and made a scandal because of it. Seeing that Jen took it to heart and could hardly hold back her tears, Kwang-soo decided to give her a ride home, and Gibim confessed her feelings to Moo again, saying that it was love at first sight. Stylists and their assistants hate it when friends, relatives, or acquaintances come to their beauty salon. They often reveal their secrets, embarrass stylists with unpleasant memories, and tell the truth, embarrassing them. In addition, relatives and friends have to discount, which is a loss. Kwang-soo is a professional in his work, never showing his emotions. This was the case until a charming girl, who turned out to be his ex, showed up at the beauty parlor. Gibim is also used to being calm and reserved, but that was only until her mother arrived. The woman is very loud and strange because she attracts everyone's attention and climbs in where she is not asked. She tries to take care of her daughter's collective and brings them food, but Gibbs is uncomfortable with what's going on. After staying over for a couple of days, her mother asks Gibim to let her sleep over and goes to sleep next to her. Meanwhile, Jen has to support Kwang-soo as he cries and drinks. His ex-girlfriend betrayed him and hurt him, so he is still nervous when he meets her. The next morning, Gibim is admitted to the hospital with stomach pain. After learning that the hunger strike was the cause, Moo and other co-workers take care of the girl and buy food so she won't deny herself anything. Moo realizes that he is beginning to have feelings for her, but is afraid to admit it prematurely. Kwang-soo rejects his ex, which pleases Jen, who has feelings for him. At the same time, it turns out that the woman who came to see Gibim is her stepmother. Talking to Moo, the girl changes her attitude to her and calls her mom for the first time. Suri can't understand what is going on with her personal life, as she has been in love for 5 years with a guy who considers her just a friend. When she first met him, she dreamed of confessing her love, but decided to lose weight. Trying to do this, the girl only gained weight and began to suffer because of complexes that did not allow her to reveal her feelings. Now this guy started dating her sister and Suri is forced to watch the couple, continuing to pretend to be a friend. In the same state and Gibim, because Moo admitted that he does not have feelings of hatred for her, but he is afraid to talk about sympathy. At the same time, the guy constantly takes care of Gibim, took her to the hospital and took her by the hand, as well as bought food. Suri and sister keep giving themselves away from each other, as a result of which they quarrel and Gani decides to live separately. Jibum goes crazy over his liking for Mu and pays attention to any hints and signs, trying to figure out if it's mutual or not. Not understanding the guy's feelings, Jibum turns to Jen for advice. Despite her attempts to hide personal information, Jen realizes that it's about Jibum and Mu. The pretty girl talks about a difficult situation in her personal relationship and asks for advice from the rest of her colleagues, which puts Mu in an awkward position. He indirectly admits that he's just undecided about his feelings and runs away to avoid feeling embarrassed. In the evening, Michelle, Jen, Jibum, and Suri go to a nightclub to meet men. Mu is jealous of the girls and offers to follow them, but instead he has to play his grandfather's board games with Kwansu and teacher Wu. The girls drink and dream of meeting men, but no one pays attention to them. They look for flaws in their looks, not realizing that they just had to press the green button to be introduced. Afraid to tell of this shame, they agree to keep it a secret that no one has contacted them. Gibbs has to ignore Mu's messages so as not to expose the woman's deception to her coworkers. Suri realizes that the guy she has a crush on can only be a friend, so she invites her sister to the beauty salon to make up. Mu finally confesses her sympathy to Gibbon and suggests dating. In the morning, she can't believe her happiness and assumes it was a dream, but the guy takes her hand, confirming his liking. The next morning, cheeky schoolgirls show up at the beauty salon asking for a colorful hairstyle. Their behavior embarrasses the older generation because they have never been the same as these schoolgirls. At the same time, Mu and Gibbon are having relationship problems because the girl is too modest and uptight. After learning that the children are moving into the adult stage of the relationship too early, Michelle worries about her daughter's relationship. Running away from work, she controls her youngest daughter and won't let her be alone with the boy, then decides to enroll the girl in ballet so she has less free time. Gathering at a cafe, the coworkers discuss each other's intimate lives and experiences. At one point, Gibbon asks when it's normal to move on to a new stage of a relationship, which confuses not only Mu, but everyone present. Jen gives them advice, but Kwansu takes notice, believing that Jen is in love with young Mu. The next morning, the schoolgirl's mother forces her to change her hair or else she will kick her out of the house. Jen helps to resolve the conflict, while Michelle gets into trouble with her daughters. Both complain to their fathers. Moreover, the eldest wants to start living separately, which greatly bothers the owner of the beauty salon. Soon Michelle manages to establish communication with the younger daughter because she liked ballet and make peace with the older daughter, still dreaming of an independent life. Going to the movie theater, Gibbon wants to take Mu by the hand, but does not dare throughout the movie. After escorting the girl home, he suggests that they should not be afraid of feelings and act mutually. Realizing that they both want it, the couple kiss passionately. Meanwhile, Jen notices a man she tries to run away from and falls down the stairs, injuring her leg. A while later, someone starts leaving angry comments on the beauty salon's website. It ruins the image, and Michelle assumes it's the work of competitors, but they have nothing to do with it. Jen ends up in the hospital with a leg injury, but she is soon released home and Kwansu takes care of the girl, continuing to take an unobtrusive interest in her. A couple days later, an angry graffiti is left on the glass of a beauty salon, informing them that they have a bad man working for them. When the police arrive on the scene, Mu claims it's all his fault and is sent to the station. Soon the rest of his coworkers turn their backs on him, believing that their reputation will suffer because of the young guy. Assuming that the person who writes insults is a victim of bullying, Mu decides to quit. In the soccer team, he insulted freshmen and juniors, having no other choice, and perhaps everything that is happening was a consequence of this. The guy starts working in a warehouse and breaks up with Gibbon, who rejected him because of bad deeds in the past. Soon the very man from whom Jen was running away appears in the beauty salon. As it turned out, this is her uncle, who was a very bad man and showed an unhealthy interest in her when she was younger. The girl was very afraid of him, and the uncle was the result of a psychological trauma that caused her to wear a lot of makeup. Becoming his hairdresser, Jen would like to take the man's life, but she realizes that she is not capable of the crime and overcomes her fear. Soon it turns out that the bully who soiled the beauty salon glass was not the victim of bullying, but Moo's former clubmate. He is arrested, so Moo returns to the beauty parlor as an intern. Gibbon cleans the glass, while Moo stays after work to finish what he started and try to clean up not only the glass, but also the reputation of the beauty salon. A few days later, it starts raining outside and a real storm hits, causing the beauty salon to have no customers. Realizing that today can be considered a day off, Michelle decides to cook something delicious to feed her subordinates. Soon a new visitor appears in the beauty salon who wants to radically change her appearance, turning into a heroine of the fairy tale Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Immediately afterward, Teacher Wu notices that the woman is very sad and writes a message to someone, sharing her desire to get even with her life. Gibbon, Suri, Jen and Michelle turn into real sleuths to understand the motives and reasons for the woman's desire. They study her and remember how she came before, but can't find anything suspicious. Stylists often have to hear the secrets of clients, but they are used to it and react as if they heard nothing. Now the situation is different because the girls want to help the client and save her life. Soon Gibbon, Michelle, and Suri realize that once they too had thoughts of settling the score with life, and it is normal for every person. Jin recalls that she had already tried to take her own life after what her uncle did to her, but the doctors saved her. Moo, like the rest of us, had bad days but managed to get through them. In an attempt to show his support for his client, he advises her not to do anything stupid in such terrible weather, believing that it is easiest to lose one's life in the spring when everyone is happy. After everyone has tried to cheer up the woman, Kwansu decides to do so as well. He dreams of appearing like a prince and romantic, but is more like a dog caught in a heavy downpour, so another attempt to cheer up the woman fails. Jen helps the woman become beautiful, and Gibbon can't stand it and hugs her, creating an even more awkward situation. Teacher Wu becomes the last person who decides to show his support, but the woman doesn't get any easier. After realizing how precious life is, the beauty salon workers return home to spend time with their loved ones. The next night, a criminal breaks into the beauty parlor and attacks Teacher Wu, stabbing him in the stomach with scissors. The police arrive on the scene and interrogate the employees of the beauty parlor, and Mu goes in pursuit of the criminal, but is unable to catch him. No one can believe that the victim of the attack should have been Teacher Wu, because he is a very kind and sweet man, unable to offend anyone. Based on this logic, the others go through their options and remember if they have offended anyone lately. Gibbon and Mu are shy about telling the others about their relationship, so they don't hold hands or kiss at work. The next day, Suri and Michelle go to the hospital to check on Teacher Wu and learn his terrible secret. As it turns out, he has genital difficulties that occurred at birth, making Teacher Wu somewhat of a man and a woman, but the doctors put him in the women's ward. Soon all of his colleagues find out about this and have mixed reactions. Kwansu is the only one who realized it, but didn't think it was a secret to the others. Soon Teacher Wu returns to work and the others support him. The criminal is caught and it turns out to be his younger, devout brother who considers Teacher Wu's birth a crime. His parents have turned their backs on the man with female organs, so he feels lonely. At the same time, stylists help to change the external image of the husband of the owner of the flower store next door. He scares even the bandits, but thanks to Jen's efforts the man becomes more sweet and pleasant. A client who is about to get married comes to the beauty parlor. She doesn't know if she should tell her future husband about her former relationship, and Michelle advises her not to do it. At the same time, all the employees of the beauty salon wonder if this is the right thing to do. As it turns out, Michelle is still worried about her ex-husband and is jealous of him after learning that the man has a new girlfriend. At the same time, Suri learns that her sister has broken up with a guy she likes. At night, she imagines that he asks her out on a date, but it's just a dream. Assuming that Jen likes Mu, Kwansu prevents her from noticing the guy in Gibbon's arms. At the same time, Gibbon is very worried about Mu being a womanizer. He had tons of girls and one of them comes to the beauty parlor. Noticing this, Jen shields Gibbon from Mu's ex-girlfriend so they don't have a fight. Mu doesn't want to fight either, so she lets Gibbon delete all the photos and girl numbers from his phone, so she has no reason to be jealous. A while later, the couple packs up the dinner table and makes up, and in the evening they head to the outskirts of town, so Gibum can see her birth mother. Jen and Kwansu have dinner, in the course of which it becomes clear that the man does not understand the hints at all. Deciding to be open, the beauty confesses that she has liked him for a long time and Kwansu was the only one who had ever seen her without makeup. The next morning, colleagues notice that Jen and Kwansu's behavior has changed, guessing that there is something between them. Their suspicions are not in vain, because last night the girl invited Kwansu to her place, and they spent the night together. During dinner, Suri is once again harangued about her weight. The girl knows that she is fat and doesn't like herself because of it, because all her life she dreamed of losing weight and did everything for it, but never got results. Jen has a complex character and often teases her assistant, believing that she does it with good intentions. After insulting Suri again, she overreacts, resulting in the fat girl getting angry at Jen and pushing her around. Michelle doesn't want to fire either of the girls, so she tries to fix the problem and get them to reconcile. In the evening, Suri and Jen apologize, but they don't do it sincerely, causing the conflict to continue. Kwansu and Jen start living together, afraid to tell their coworkers about their relationship. Their relationship seems to be complicated, as Jen has a knack for finding an approach to people, while Kwansu is too straightforward and doesn't understand hints, often being rude in his words and actions. At night, Kwansu can't sleep and kicks Jen out of her apartment, which makes her rude to her customers. Suri goes on another diet and is rude to everyone around him, whether it's customers or his boss. Soon, Kwansu is visited by his difficult client, inviting him and Gibum to his wedding anniversary party. At the party, Kwansu gets too embarrassed by the pictures of haircuts he has taken, so the man goes home early. Jen resents Kwansu for his action, but he doesn't realize it. In the evening, he tries to talk to the girl, but the conversation ends in a quarrel because there is no understanding between them. Soon, Kwansu and Gibum are invited to the hospital to their harmful client. As it turned out, he often changed his hair because he had cancer and knew that he would soon go bald. A few days later, they have to attend their client's funeral. Kwansu and Jen make up since the man couldn't sleep next to her, but found a way out by buying another bed. Mu is bad at learning to be a stylist, which causes Jen to yell at the guy for not being able to be a worthy student and specialist in the future. As it turns out, he is worried about the fact that he received a summons and in a few weeks has to go to the army. Having admitted this to Gibum, he offers to go on a joint trip and spend the night together, but the girl is afraid because she has never had a man before. After consulting with Jen, she realizes that she shouldn't rush into things as it could lead to problems. Jen is not objective in her advice as she is nervous due to constant bouts of nausea. Wary, she buys a pregnancy test and is delighted when it turns out to be negative. After learning that pregnancy cannot be detected early on, Jen becomes anxious again and distances herself from Kwangsu, ignoring him completely. Soon the man does manage to ask her out on a date, where Jen refuses alcohol and heavy food. A few minutes later, she becomes convinced that she is not pregnant and tells Kwangsu about it. The man becomes sad and leaves, because he is offended by the fact that the girl hid her concerns about this. Moreover, he is ready to become a father, despite his character and fear of responsibility. Having established a relationship with the man she loves, Jen changes her decision and advises Gibum to go on a trip with her boyfriend. A couple of days later, she and Mu leave for another city, but the girl is still afraid to go to bed with the guy, so he has to reassure her, saying that nothing will happen without her consent to it. At the same time, the beauty parlor continues to receive clients, including a lonely old man who is learning to live without his deceased wife and a boy who has grown up after the birth of his younger sister. Soon an apprentice, Yoon, shows up at the beauty parlor to replace Mu. He quickly proves his usefulness as he turns out to be the only one who understands English and can serve a visiting American tourist. In the evening, the group gathers for a farewell party to see Mu off to the army. After working only 24 hours, Yoon quits, believing that he is too good for the job. Before leaving for the army, Mu decides to get a haircut and Gibum serves him as everyone else waits outside so as not to disturb the loving couple. The next morning, Mu leaves for the army and Gibum promises to wait for the guy. A few weeks later, she and his mother and younger brother go to the military unit to check on Mu. The couple goes for a walk and looks for a quiet place to kiss, but they are constantly interrupted, either by children or priests. At the same time, the beauty salon has held an exam for trainees, during which teacher Wu has become a stylist and new assistants have taken his place. After going to the wish tree, Mu and Givim left notes with dreams for the future. Kwansu and Zhen began to share each other's hobbies. Suri stopped worrying about her age, and Givim and Mu became a happy couple.